So good evening to everyone. At the outset, I would like to congratulate Prabhu for launching Tarina project and being part of, it's not working, part of Tarina. I would also like to express thanks to Gates Foundation for sponsoring this very important project to all the partners who are here. So I have been asked to talk on agriculture markets and access to diet diversity. So in next 10 minutes, I thought that I'll talk on three broad areas. One is the diet diversity, because it is linked in my topic, diet diversity. Second, agriculture and nutrition disconnect. And third is the way forward. What should be our strategies for connecting agriculture and nutrition? These are the three broad areas. I'll talk 3 minutes each mostly. So coming to the first area, diet diversity. You know that it has already been mentioned that dietary patterns are changing, our food basket is changing, moving from cereal-based system to high-value agriculture is all known. We are talking for last several years. And Indians are eating more of fat now and less of protein. So this is an issue of concern, that more fat and less of protein. This is important issue which we need to note down. So demand side also, these farmers are responding to this dietary pattern which is taking place. Farmers are responding, but the supply is not commensurate as the demand is increasing. So there is a mismatch between supply and demand, and over the years we may have deficit of many of the commodities which we consider today we are in surplus. Some of our studies in IFPRI have shown that, particularly in wheat, maize, coarse cereals, will be surplus by 2020, will not be deficit. So we need to produce. Will be deficit in pulses, edible oil, and in case of fruits and vegetables, if we do not take care of post-harvest losses, then will be deficit. If we take care of post-harvest losses, India may emerge as a surplus in fruits and vegetables. So we need to focus not more in production, but more in losses in post-harvest losses. We'll be balancing sugar and rice. So there may be shortfall or surplus of these commodities, sugar and rice. Now, key issues were from nutrition angle, although coarse cereals are most nutritive, but it is being concerned that our consumption of pulses is declining over the time, while fruits, vegetables, meat, eggs, fish, their consumption is increasing. Pulses are contributing towards protein. Meat is also contributing towards protein. But Indians are mostly vegetarian, even if they say we are non-vegetarian, so they don't eat meat daily. It's a once in a week or once in a fortnight or once in a month. So also it's a odd and even, like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, they don't eat. So odd and even is also there on meat. So there are lots of restrictions. So meat consumption is increasing, but the pulse consumption is declining much faster than the increase in the. So what are the important issues in these two kinds of categories? One is the pulse group, and second group is these commodities which are perishable in nature, especially the fruits, vegetables, meat, milk, fish. They are perishable in nature. And pulse is another group. So what should be our market strategy for these commodities? So market access, so three things are important. Already Purvi has mentioned. One is the availability of these different commodities, and there should be enough supply in the market, whether we produce in the country, within the country, or we take from the outside. Second is the access of these commodities, a network of the markets, which we do not have. So net markets. And third is the affordability of these commodities, the price, at what price we are buying these commodities. And there is in pulses, you have seen that the 40% was the inflation at the retail price. And fruits and vegetables, they are very seasonal. Today you will have tomato maybe 40 rupees or 80 rupees kg. Next day it will be 5 rupees or 10 rupees kg. So huge volatility in the price existing in these commodities. So third is affordability of the price. So how we go about it, I'll tell at the last section. So disconnect between agriculture and nutrition. The second aspect is agriculture, nutrition disconnect. Now Indian producers, they are characterized as smallholders. 86% of the holdings are less than 2 hectares. If you look, the marginal farmers are more than 65% are marginal farmers, less than 1 hectare. So when they are so tiny land holdings, the marketable surplus is very, very low. So their transaction costs are very high. So when they produce these commodities, if for take example of pulses, so marketable surplus is so low that they do not have any bargaining power or there will be very high transaction costs. Similarly, vegetables. So vegetables, they are coming not at one time, like we harvest wheat at one time or we harvest pulse one time. So vegetables are coming on a weekly basis or fortnightly basis. So surplus is very, very low. And all these commodities are very risky. One, at the production stage level, the risk is very high. They have lots of biotic and abiotic factors which are affecting the productivity. And second, at the market level, the price fluctuation is very high. And coming to the pulses, the price policy, always we are talking about the price policy. IFRI studies we have done recently one study on how the supply of pulses is being determined. And we found that pulses are not responding to the prices. The supply of pulses is not responding to the prices. Pulses are responding to rainfall patterns, distribution of rainfall, droughts, irrigation. Irrigation is negative. As there is irrigation, they will move to other place, they will be pushed out. So pulses are not responding to the prices. So when we say increase the price of pulses, it will not increasing the supply. So we have to think a different mode of increasing the supply of pulses. But what we realize that at the farm level, the prices are not determined by supply and demand. At farm gate, the prices are determined by MSP is being considered as a floor price, and traders are colluding at that price. And they are giving that price to the farmers, which is adversely affecting the farmers. They are not getting the real price. Your retail price is 200 rupees, and the price at the farm gate is hardly 50 rupees or less than 50 rupees. So it's adversely affected. So what we have recommended recently, there is an issue that if prices crash, what is going to happen? So we recommended that you increase prices of pulses considerably. Supply may not increase, but farmer will gain out of the higher prices. And at the retail price, it is not going to transfer to the retail. The high price at the farm level will not transfer to the retail, because at retail, it is decided by the demand and supply. It will improve market efficiency. And the justification for higher price for pulses is that they contribute towards environmental services. They fix nitrogen, and the next crop you use urea and nitrogenous fertilizer. So you add that contribution of pulse farmer in the price. So we need to think in a different way when we are fixing the prices of pulses. So coming to the market, Indian markets, we have regulated markets, unregulated markets, but they are very thinly spread. They are dominated largely in few places like Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, Andhra Pradesh, little part of Andhra Pradesh, but they are very thinly spread in other parts of the country. So one thing is that we need to develop markets. The second is that they are very inefficient, they are fragmented, they are long supply chains from producer to consumers. There are several actors. They are not adding any value, but adding cost every time. So they are adding their profit margins. So long value chains are there. So we need to see how we cut down these market chains, long chains, to compress the chains. Lastly, the APMC Act. Always we say that APMC Act is also adversely affecting because of lots of mandi taxes and lots of inefficiencies. And we are not, the price discovery mechanism is also very, very inefficient. So what I am proposing, 7 points, what we need to do for future, for 3 things. One, to availability, access, and affordability. So 7 points I have listed. One is that for all these commodities which we are talking, they are more nutritive commodities, pulses, fruits and vegetables I am talking. Milk, the price is, it's determined in a different way. Poultry, there is no problem for the prices. So for that, first is that market intelligence. There are institutions in the ministries that they regularly monitor the prices. So we need to monitor prices and also the supply. Supply not only within the country, but globally, from where the produce is going to come. So take example of pulses. The global market is also very thin. There is deficit at the global market also. So we need to have a market intelligence, how the arrival is there of different commodities, and also the price, how the price is behaving at the global level, so that we take decision well in advance, though before the prices are shooting up to a very high level. The second is a very effective trade policy. We do not have effective trade policy. It's a very fluctuating trade policy. In 1 month, we change trade policy out several times. We need to give a clear signal to the global market, especially in pulses, which is deficit, to the global market that we are a player who are going to import pulses. We are not giving that kind of impression to the global market because our requirements are different. Some years we are importing pigeon pea, some we are importing chickpea, some year we are importing lentil. So we are also not consistent in imports. So we have sometimes we have surplus of these commodities, sometimes we have deficit. So we are not able to. I think the recent step which government has taken that from Mozambique and Myanmar, there's a fixed kind of contract is giving a clear signal to at least these countries that we are going to import certain quantity of pulses. The third is the infrastructure development. For all these commodities, whether perishable or pulses, for perishable commodities, we need huge investment for cold storage, cold chains. We need 16,000 cold chains, while India has only 1,600 cold chains. So we need large number of cold chains, cold storage. And also now we need to see the role of foreign direct investment. It has already been mentioned that government has announced that 100% FDI in food processing, agriculture processing. Now we need to see, especially fruits and vegetables, how the processing sector will be efficient, will be competitive in the global market. Domestically, if you see the processed fruits and vegetables, the demand is not there. It will come at later stage when the incomes will be so high, and we need to export those. Do we have comparative advantage? When, therefore, FDI is not coming in agri-processing sector. Already it was 50%, before that it was 24%, but FDI is not coming. So we need to see how we can become competitive first at the production level and then bring the best of the technologies to process that commodity. Fourth is strategic reserve. As was mentioned that now Indian government has decided for pulses 2 million tons of strategic reserve, so that whenever the prices are shooting up, we can release the quantity in the market, so to stabilize the prices at certain level. And we require warehouses. Warehouse receipt is one policy domain which we can take advantage of this one. The fifth is the price policy. Price policy, MSP, always whenever we talk for increasing production, we talk of the MSP. As was mentioned that MSP is effective only rice and wheat. Why we are bothered about all these commodities? I consider that there are 4 kinds of commodities where we need to see the price policy. One group of commodities is that we are surplus in the commodity, like rice, wheat, maize, coarse cereal. And also globally, these commodities are available. The second group of commodities is that we are deficit, but globally that commodity is available, like edible oil. We are deficit in and globally easily available. Third group of commodities that we are deficit, and globally also these commodities are deficit. Pulses are example for that. So the price policy for all these three group of commodities will be different, will not be similar. So we need to see how we evolve these kinds of policies so that we increase production of different commodities. Sixth is now the e-NAM, the Electronic National Agriculture Market is coming. Now issue is that how we are linking small and marginal farmers with e-NAM. Because these farmers, they have very tiny marketable surplus. So aggregators or the traders will participate in these e-NAM. Now if we have to link the small and marginal farmers with e-NAM, I think the best way is to go through, we need to strengthen farmer-producer organizations. Now farmer-producer organization will take care of because they will have enough surplus and then they can participate in the e-NAM. And also they'll have a back-end advantage. They can produce or the seed, fertilizer, pesticide from the back-end at a reasonable, in a wholesale or in a reasonable prices. So we need to strengthen farmer-producer organizations if we want to link them with the effective markets and give advantage to the farmer community. Seventh issue is very important, is the food safety issues. Because these are all perishable commodities. Food safety is very important. Food safety at production level, food safety in the value chain, food safety in the processing sector, and food safety at the retail end. So food safety regulatory mechanisms and implementing mechanisms are very, very important. So we need to think that how we are evolving these food safety mechanisms. I think finally, the behavioral change is very important for nutritive diets. IFPRI studies have shown in Africa and also recently in Bangladesh that different sets of experiment was conducted. One, that food was given in kind, second, food was given in cash, and third, the cash plus behavioral change, kind plus behavioral change. Now where we had cash plus behavioral change, the consumption of these high-value commodities, more nutritive commodities, that increased dramatically. So this indicates that if we give this kind of, bundle to the consumers, that will help in improving our nutritive requirements. So finally, I'll say that we have to convince our consumers or convince the producers they produce safe food, they produce nutritive food, they produce healthy foods. Thank you very much.